All right, everybody, I've got a question for you. Do you like watching movies? Have you ever watched movies where people are born with the destiny to change the fate of a country? So if anybody has watched a movie like this, I think you can understand our video very well today. And for people who haven't seen a movie like that yet, well, please watch the whole video to understand a real-life fantasy story. Even when I discovered the information making this video for you, I felt like it was all just surreal. Up to this point, everybody has thought that Meghan Markle married Harry for fame and fortune, but the truth is actually more terrifying than that. So please watch this video until the very end to find out the whole truth. Meghan Markle married into the royal family, truly convinced that she could change the institution from the inside out. And now that she's back living stateside, the American public is seeing who she really is. And guess what? Nobody likes her. And this is coming from a royal biographer. They stated that Americans are starting to see through her. Up to this point, the truth is Meghan Markle's little scheme to marry Harry involves the idea that she believes she can overthrow the royal institution and build her own brand new institution in its place. Honestly, I can't even believe she came up with such a ridiculous idea. It really is such a cruel twist of fate, isn't it? The royal family being saddled with a nightmare daughter-in-law like Meghan. And you know, I do think Americans are pretty good at sniffing out the BS. After all, it's the Americans who have unraveled Meghan's little plot. So Meghan Markle is an American, and we're never going to accept her ambitions. It does seem like a fantasy movie though, doesn't it? But Meghan's just banking on the idea that this can turn into real life and she's going to do it all herself. Maybe she's an actress and wants to act in big movies, so she can be paranoid about that kind of thing in real life. But Meghan Markle is a nobody. She means nothing at all to the royal family. She's unimportant and irrelevant. So what does Meghan think she could possibly do to undermine or even overthrow the royal family? I mean, even if she were to practice for a few lifetimes, she would still never come close. Andrew Lowney, author of Traitor King, said, quote, "She felt like she could change the institution rather than go in and work from within. Meghan thinks everyone is going to bow to her and she can do exactly what she wants and she's not part of a team. It can be explained that she grew up in an unhappy family and was oppressed in many ways, so she hates this world. She hopes that one day everyone will have to bow when meeting her, and Meghan will take revenge on those who oppress her. What a poor girl." Now, Meghan is frequently compared to Wallis Simpson, the late Duchess of Windsor, and there are good reasons behind these comparisons. Both women were aspiring American actresses who married into the royal family, and then basically immediately after that, their husbands abandoned their senior working roles. The biggest point about those two people that they have in common is they are manipulative, and they love to ruin their husbands' lives. But maybe Wallis Simpson is actually a lot less sinister than Meghan Markle. I mean, Meghan Markle certainly comes in first place when it comes to plots and tricks. Meghan is a poisonous serpent, and she will forever be something that nobody can really compare to. And I know she tries to act like she was so famous. She's never been famous. Most of us had no idea who Meghan was. She was not a Hollywood starlet. I mean, come on. She needs to stop saying that. Meghan Markle played a supporting role in a rather obscure Canadian TV series. Now, when we found out about her relationship with Harry, we also learned that she ditched her first husband by mailing her rings back to him. And then she began dating Harry while she was still dating somebody else, that Canadian chef. And then, as if she was trying to make herself even less endearing, she dumped her own father. Not exactly the girl next door, right? I mean, Meghan Markle is no paragon of virtue. There is nothing that she wouldn't do. There is no low that she wouldn't stoop to, and it's all for vanity. And you know, friends, sometimes I think that Harry already understands what Meghan is like. He just can't admit, though, that he made a colossal mistake when he married her. He can't admit to himself and the world that he's the reason he threw away the security and the comfort that he had when he was a working royal, even though he was always going to be a secondary player. Harry, though, is finding out the hard way that in the past, everything for him was a lot better. But he couldn't admit that. I mean, that would be the ultimate humiliation for this egotistical prince. Harry's never going to be able to come back home either. Harry has got himself into quite the dilemma. He's cornered now. The biggest mistake of Harry's life, I believe, was believing what Meghan Markle told him. From the very beginning, Meghan was also interested in Harry because of the money that she could make from marrying him. She thought she would get all kinds of expensive wedding gifts. And I don't hear very much about the guests on Meghan Markle's list. She just thought she was going to make millions from Harry's guests, I guess, and she was going to be able to invite a bunch of celebrities she didn't even know. But now everyone has disappeared. Nobody cares about those two, and now Meghan Markle is left to make some jam in her kitchen. Oh, how the mighty have fallen. How much money, though, is enough for that narcissistic witch? I mean, honestly, she's so wasteful. She and Harry waste so much money on partying, flying around in private jets. She chose to leave the royal family, and as a result, she and Harry have run out of money. So she's decided she has no other choice but to sell jam. You know, I hope that whole experience has caused Meghan to suffer a bit. She certainly deserves it. And I think most Brits are just saying good riddance. They're a couple of grifters, they were too lazy to earn their own money, and so they've just been trying to feed off the celebrity culture that they have attained through their connection to the royal family, however tenuous it may be. They have not done anything, though, to earn this position. And honestly, they should be completely cut off from the royals and celebrities too. The titles need to be taken away. Even if one day they're not stripped of the titles, they're going to take advantage of them to do whatever they want. So it's important that the royal family understands what the people want. The people want to see the title stripped. Harry and Meghan are also the ones who single-handedly engineered this worldwide spy campaign. They really could have been a force for good in the world, but no, they didn't want to do that. Instead, they decided to hang on to those titles and also try to cling to their royal family connections by telling lies, trashing the royal family. They thought that was going to make them some quick money. They were convinced somehow that they were more popular, more successful than a 1,000-year-old institution. Meghan, you had a plan, we can see that, but your plan wasn't a very good one, and now karma is coming to get you. You know, in some ways, though, I think this jam idea is great for Meghan. That is what she should sell. It's kind of sickly sweet, a lot like her, clings on to everything, not very good quality, attracts a lot of nasty bugs, too much is going to make you vomit, spreads on very thick, and can be made with artificial coloring and sweetener probably too. You know, honestly, I think it's important that all of us boycott all Meghan's products. First of all, we despise her. Second of all, she doesn't need any of our money. She's just going to use it to try to destroy the UK and its innocent people. Honestly, I think Meghan's food is about as dangerous as she is. I'm not sure what's in the jam. It could be anything. Could be some drugs. Perhaps she figured that the only way to get people to buy it was to make them addicted, so she's put something in it. I wouldn't put it past her. And recently, we have seen even more evidence as to how deceitful Meghan is. Honestly, I couldn't even list all the horrible things that she and Harry have done in such a short period of time, too. I'm going to give you a few examples. None of them are surprising. Everything they do is faked. Just look at the polo match. So they showed up to the American-US Polo Championship with, of course, a Netflix crew in tow, but were refused entry with the crew. So they were probably trying to photograph spectators so they could use them in their next Netflix show. They staged the charity polo match. No spectators, or very few, but conveniently Harry's team won. So he's up there on the podium getting the trophy. And then that poor woman had to be shoved aside for Meghan Markle, in spite of the fact that she represents the charity for which that match was played. It makes no sense. And why? Oh, just so that Meghan could put on a performance for everybody, kissing Harry, pretending to love him, being photographed next to him, all the hugs, all pretending to be so happy. It was mostly just business associates looking to get some attention, giving Meghan Markle her chance to be the center of attention because she demands it, some PR spin. Most people, though, can see through all these little games, all the schemes. It's not a surprise because the same strategy is used for everything they do. And it doesn't really matter how hard they try, the same narrative, the same behavior, it gets them the same results. This whole fake it till you make it plan is not working out very well for them. Maybe Meghan Markle needs to try a different strategy, but she probably doesn't have another strategy. And if you ask me, a truly wise person is not arrogant or impulsive. Meghan Markle, though, is not a wise person. Meghan clearly misunderstood the graciousness and politeness shown to her by the royal family. She thought that it was a weakness. Boy, was she wrong. She was convinced that she was the smart one and she could just take advantage of everybody. She didn't realize there are, in fact, some very intelligent professionals working with the royals, and there are traditions to be followed. What Meghan wanted, Meghan didn't get, and so she was exposed to be an incredibly difficult person to work with. Meghan also tried to trash the top senior royals, making absurd claims like they were racist. That was her face-saving exit strategy. That's all it was, and it blew up in her face. Meghan Markle is not an impressive person. She is very small potatoes in the grand scheme of things. And what does she have to do with the royals? She's trying to ruin them? Meghan Markle can dream all she wants. It's never going to happen. And about Meghan Markle setting up a new institution, well, that will never happen. It's a farce. Has anybody watching the video here ever had a dream about being a superhero maybe, and you were ruling the world much like Meghan wants to? Well, that's okay. Everybody can dream. But let's be honest here. Meghan Markle is not going to be saving the world from anything. I mean, she's the one we need to save the world from. Okay, so now that we've covered the bottomless greed of that narcissistic witch Meghan Markle, I want to talk about a different topic. So this is the result of Meghan's toxic narcissism, always wanting something more for herself. It could be that the main consequence is not damaging the honor of the royals, and it's also not ruining her stupid business or really anything else, but it has to do with the children. I'm talking about Archofficial and Invisibeth. Now, if those kids are real, I'm really worried about them, especially Lilibet. She's only 2 years old now, supposedly, and she's stuck with this narcissistic mother who takes full advantage of her children over and over again for PR purposes. And then a drug-addicted father who doesn't know what's going on right now and doesn't even care about his kids. The kids have also been separated from the royal family. They should have gotten to know them. They should have been sheltered under that royal roof. But in reality, they're isolated, not only from the royal family, but also basically everybody in the outside world. And I'm wondering if there's any chance, again, assuming the kids are real, is there any chance that they could enjoy royal privileges when they grow up? For example, if Invisibeth gets married at some point in the future, is she going to be able to wear a tiara? I mean, as far as I know, wearing a tiara at a wedding is a privilege of the princesses of the British royal family. Alright, speaking of which, you might already be guessing what I want to talk about. It is Lily's prerogative when she gets married, right? So let's dig just a little bit deeper. Maybe every little girl in the world at one point in time or another dreams of having her own crown. But some people do enjoy that privilege, but their parents have taken it away. Of course, I'm talking about Lilibet, alleged daughter of Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. Naturally, wearing a crown enhances the status of princess. They look sparkly, they look beautiful, they look so regal. But I'm wondering, will Princess Lilibet ever get to wear a crown? When exactly did her parents choose to step down as royals? Now, the royal family, though, does attach a lot of importance to tradition. When princesses attend a special event or when they get married, they always wear tiaras inherited from the late Princess Diana or the late Queen Elizabeth. For example, Princess Beatrice chose to wear Queen Mary's diamond fringed tiara during her ceremony with Mapelli Mozzi back in 2020, and that's a tiara that was inherited from the late Queen Elizabeth. Or let's look at Princess Eugenie. She decided to wear the Greville Emerald Cacochionate crown on her wedding day when she married Jack Brooksbank back in 2018. So Princess Lilibet is 7th in line to the throne, so will she be allowed to wear a crown? Now, she's got at least 16 years left until she can even think about getting married. Now, if he lives that long, King Charles will be 92 years old. And that's not uncommon in his family, but let's remember right now he is facing some serious health issues. He's facing cancer. And it also means that child would be getting married before she goes to university and before she really experiences any independence in adult life. I don't think it's going to happen, but it could. I mean, honestly, if Lilibet grows up to be like her mother, then maybe a quick wedding is going to be forced if she finds out that King Charles is about to pass away. Meghan would love that after all. All the attention stolen away from the ailing king. The poor king barely even able to walk, but having to leave the palace so he can attend the wedding of his favorite granddaughter. You can imagine how Meghan's going to spin this story. And when the king looked into Lilibet's blue eyes, all he felt was regret for the way he handled Diana. And he apologized for the treatment that Harry and Meghan received. And he named Meghan Markle the ultimate queen, and Harry is going to be her under-king. The monarchy, though, would certainly come to an end if Meghan Markle was queen. So, when Lilibet gets married, is she going to be allowed to borrow a tiara? I don't know, folks. Honestly, in my opinion, probably not. Maybe Meghan would expect Earl Spencer to lend his daughter the crown, but Earl Spencer has made it very clear that the Spencer tiara is only going to be worn by Spencer women when they get married. He refused to let Meghan borrow it. Now, when the current Earl passes away, his son will inherit everything, and the tiara is not going to go to Lilibet or Charlotte or Meghan Markle. Unless Lilibet is somehow raised in Britain in the future, which doesn't look very likely, I don't believe she's going to wear any royal tiara when she finally gets married. I don't know who the king is going to be at that point. It will either be King Charles or King William, but I don't believe they're going to be shipping a tiara to California. Now, if Lilibet gets married in Britain and the king decides to loan out a tiara, she wouldn't get to choose. She would be a lot like her mother, Meghan Markle, in that she would just get to wear whatever tiara they told her she could wear. Honestly, though, I don't believe Harry ever considered the Spencer tiara. I don't think he's ever thought about which tiaras women in his family were wearing until Meghan Markle entered his life with her obsession. I'm sure Harry doesn't care if there's a tiara for Lilibet or not. He's not thinking about tiaras. He wants status. He wants money. But it's never seemed like he cared that much about the jewelry other than to make Meghan happy. In Harry's twisted logic, he probably thinks the tiara should have been his mother's, and so therefore it should be his. Or maybe he's just still thinking what Meghan wants, Meghan gets. Harry is so entitled. But I don't think there's a good chance that Lilibet is going to get the Spencer crown. Charlotte is going to end up with the Spencer tiara. And you know, instead of having the tiara gifted to Charlotte, I think William would probably buy it for Charlotte from his uncle or cousin. Because if we're to believe the reports, William and his uncle are actually quite close. So maybe he would have loaned it to them on Charlotte's wedding day if he were still around at the time. Now, another possibility is this article talking about the tiara is actually a farce, and it was put out by Earl Spencer because Meghan Markle was requesting to wear the tiara. It'd be pretty funny to me. I don't know, though. I just don't think that they would consider selling the family tiara. Now, a point of pride would be keeping it in the family because of its connection to Diana. I think if they were to sell it to anybody, it would be William, because William is the nephew of the Earl after all, and he also has a very close connection to his late mother, obviously. So I think the only way that Invisibet would get to wear the crown is if Harry bought it for her or rented one for her. I don't think Charles is going to be around by that time, and William is not going to lend out these historic jewels to somebody he doesn't even know, unless, of course, security is following closely behind. She's also not a Spencer, and the Spencers don't know her at all. They're not going to lend her that tiara. And it's absolute BS that Charlotte's going to inherit the Spencer tiara. I'm sure the next Earl will take possession of it. Charlotte doesn't need it. It's also important to remember that technically speaking, one doesn't have to be royal to wear a tiara. Modern rules of etiquette do mean that a tiara might first be worn at age 18, but typically worn first by a bride. Considering that society has become a lot more relaxed in dress, and former white tie events where a tiara is appropriate to wear have become a lot less formal, I don't believe that Invisibet is going to have any occasion to wear one. Now, if she stays in California, and if she gets married at some outdoor venue, which is typical for California, a tiara is not going to make sense. But if she inherits her mother's sense of fashion, which I hope she doesn't, then who knows what she'll be seen wearing. It is a shame, though, because Lilibet's parents are so greedy she's not going to receive her noble privileges. Lilibet is not going to get anything from the royal family. She won't get a tiara, she won't even get access to the royal grounds. And I'm sure that Harry believes his kids deserve a great taxpayer-funded wedding at St. Paul's in Westminster, but it ain't gonna happen. Because by then, William is going to be king, and I'm sure no such event is going to happen. Beatrice and Eugenie, I believe, were the last non-working royals to get those expensive weddings. And about the wedding, the only thing I wish for this little girl, if she decides to marry somebody one day, is to live a normal life. I hope that she gets to live a peaceful life, have a peaceful marriage, surrounded by loving family and friends. I do hope the children grow up to be better than their parents. And the fact that they've titled and ennobled those kids is not a good thing. I think it was incredibly cruel, because those kids are never going to be anything more than royal adjacent. Now, if they want Lilibet to wear a crown, they're going to have one made for her. And unfortunately for Meghan Markle, unless the royal family meets and builds a relationship with Archofficial and Lilibet, then she's never going to get to wear a tiara. The palace is never going to agree to ship a tiara to the US. What an insane idea. It would have to come into the hands of a few different people, including security people. Now, the venue would need royal security too, and the tiara could never ever leave their sight. When Lilibet eventually gets married, she's also not going to be the granddaughter of the monarch. She's going to be the estranged niece. Now, it wasn't their spot in the line of succession, Beatrice and Eugenie. It was their relationship to the monarch that gave them a chance to wear a tiara when they got married. But see, Lilibet's going to get married in the time of King William, and she's just going to be a niece, one that he's never even met. So no, I don't believe Lilibet is going to be able to wear a tiara that is owned by the royal family when she eventually gets married, if she eventually gets married, and again, if she's even real. Now, if the royal family wanted to be really generous, I believe that even if Lilibet came from a surrogate, she's still Harry's child. She's still the grandchild of King Charles. So if she grew up in the UK, and if she actually had a relationship with her father's family and got married in the UK, then maybe she could wear one. Lady Lilibet Diana or Princess Lilibet Diana, whatever, she might be loaned a tiara by Queen Camilla or Queen Catherine. But only if Meghan weren't around to ruin everything. Lilibet doesn't even need to be in LA to wear a tiara from the royal collection. She just needs to be trusted, which is a lot more than we can say for her mother and father for that matter. But anyway, let's come back down to reality. I, of course, wish King Charles nothing but the best. But still, it's going to be at least 20 years, I think, before Lilibet would be getting married, and I don't know if the king's going to last that long. George and Charlotte could probably already have children at that point in time too, so at that point, Lilibet would be pretty far down the line of succession. I don't even think it's going to be an issue. I do hope by that time, though, the poor girl has realized that she has some horrible parents, and maybe she will have found some nice, normal guy to marry, somebody she can really have a great life with. Alright, so next, I gotta talk about a thought that I had when I was considering the recent news about King Charles summoning Harry and Meghan to come back to England this summer with their invisible kids. So what exactly is the theory here? I'm guessing King Charles is going to request a DNA test to find out the truth about the two kids, to find out if they really are his grandchildren or not. And I hope that happens. I think that it would be good for the kids if that happened, because then maybe they would be able to enjoy some royal privileges. Of course, we're going to have to wait and see on this one. I'm still very skeptical about this news. I kind of don't believe that King Charles really extended an invitation because, he's got cancer right now. Catherine has cancer. The family doesn't need the stress that Harry and Meghan would bring. I don't think this is the time to be bothering with what is happening with the invisible children. But other people are claiming that the king is really worried about the kids. So if that's true, then my suggestion is that insisting that the kids have to be raised in the UK to retain the prince and princess titles would be a very easy way to make sure they're safe. I simply don't believe they would be willing to lose their titles because Meghan would take or send them to the UK instead of having the titles taken away. Those titles are very important to her after all. But maybe Harry and Meghan should have kept their trap shut and not trashed the royal family the way they did with all the lies, all the exaggerations, if they really wanted to find success in this world. So they're going to be facing a very different future. And the kids, if they were raised in the UK, would certainly enjoy better privileges than they do now. But then again, we gotta remember Meghan is a narcissist, so she cannot stand being overshadowed by her own children. Meghan has to be in control of everything and everybody all the time. And I don't believe she has full control over Harry's children. She doesn't want her parenting skills to be compared to Catherine's. She doesn't want those kids to be compared to George, Charlotte, or Louis. But I think it's about time King Charles showed that he really does have a backbone. I guess when he got sick, he understood the line of succession. So Harry and Meghan's kids should also have the same privileges as other royal children, being the line of succession and getting to live in the UK. So maybe King Charles is saying, prove the kids are real by bringing them up to see me at Balmoral. Or if they don't come, then we're going to have to take them out of the line of succession because we cannot even verify that they exist. At the end of the day, though, more than anything, I just hope Harry and Meghan will stop trashing the royals. The royals have been incredibly generous with them. It's high time they apologize and make amends. Not only would it be good for themselves, but it would be good for Archofficial and Invisibet as well. Maybe we would get to find out finally that they're real. Those kids deserve better. And now that Charles is king, he has to meet the people in the line of succession. All right, folks, so I want to know what you think about the story that I brought today. Please comment below. If you want us to explore any other topic with regard to the royal family, please suggest it below to let us know. And I hope this video resonates with you. Don't forget to support us by liking, sharing, and subscribing to the channel. Goodbye for now, and I'll be back to see you again soon in other videos on the Queen's YouTube channel.